Look, what are the sort of things that each and every one of us can do?
Well, so you're quite right. So the survey showed that lots of people are making really quite major lifestyle changes. 2 in 5 said they're actually not going to turn the heating on at all, or they're going to wait till it's very, very cold, which is actually quite dangerous. A lot of people, unfortunately, in this country do die from fuel poverty because they don't heat their homes enough. So there are lots of things that you can do. Some of them are quite big things. We'd probably like the government maybe to give us a little bit of help with that. But many of them are quite small things that anybody can do on quite a small budget. And if you want, I'm going to show you a few of those just now.
Yes, please. Take us on a tour.
Okay. So welcome to my kitchen. So the first thing is a thermostatic radiator valve. So every radiator should have one of these. Normally in a house, you just have a thermostat maybe on the wall, and that regulates the entire house's temperature. But why should all radiators be the same temperature? Should the radiator in your hallway be the same as your lounge? Should the radiator in your bedroom even be on at all in the middle of the day when you're not using the bedroom? So these things, they cost about £15 each, easily available from any DIY store or online. And if you see, I can alter it, right? So I can alter it to be completely off or completely on or anything in between. You can get fancy ones that do that electronically. They cost about £10 more. And there's no plumbing involved. That's the key thing. Literally, you just unscrew whatever's there beforehand. You've got a really old radiator, it might need a bit of adapter, but you unscrew that and you put a new one of these on, and every radiator should really have one of those.
Gosh, I didn't know that. Go on, yes, take us. That's a good one.
You mentioned draft extruder, and this is a relatively modern door, but draft extruder looks like this. It's sort of a spongy thing with a bit of adhesive tape on it. You look here, I've fitted them here, just. You can see where it sort of squeezes in there, also at the top. And then when the door closes, and you do the same for windows as well, the door and window closes, it closes in on that and squeezes it and forms a really tight seal. And these cost pennies. If you spend £2 or £3 on a door or a window, you're probably spending too much. And so go around all your doors, go around all your windows at night, on a cold night, just feel with your hands, see if you can feel a draft, and make sure the next morning you seal that up. Instead of using certainly closed curtains, if you've got those at dusk, instead of using thicker curtains, maybe consider using door curtains. That used to be something that was popular back in the day. Again, it's there to try and reduce your heat loss. One more thing while I've got you here, which is a little pipe here. So if you have time, I'll take you up into my loft. I have to admit, it's quite untidy in the loft. So I created a very small mini loft here. So if you look at this hopefully might look a little bit like a normal loft where there's joists and there's insulation in between them, and most British houses have that. And that used to be 2 or 3 inches the requirement in building regulations. But nowadays, the government recommends at least triple that, so almost a foot of insulation, and that's really important because 25% of a home's heat, generally in most British houses, goes up through your attic and through your roof. So you want to make sure you have at least that sort of amount of insulation. And the final thing, and the survey showed that this was quite important, most people didn't realise that squashing the insulation, by putting boards on it or putting your possessions, your boxes onto it, stops it from working. Because the insulation works by being fluffy and trapping air. If you squash it, you get rid of the air, and that halves its effectiveness.
Wow.
So if you want to use a loft, just look up things like raised loft flooring systems. This one's the store floor from Loft Zone, but there are others as well. And you'd screw that into your joist, and you'd make basically a new deck on top of your insulation. So it allows you to keep that fluffiness, so you save your heat and have an energy from home. And then you put your boards on top of that. That's 3 simple things that everyone can do and doesn't cost very much at all.
So in terms of the cost, because the other stuff, as you say,
pennies,
is very pennies. That extra insulation, presumably that would cost a fair bit, would it?
So the insulation, again, just go to any DIY store or get them online. A roll of insulation about this long, about this wide, typically costs about £20 or £30. It's one of the cheapest things you can do. I can show you another type of insulation. This is external wall insulation. there's brick underneath here. And any house built before World War II would have solid walls, about 9 million homes in this country. So that costs a lot. And that's not a DIY project. That's something that you really need to get someone in, and the payback will be several years. But the loft insulation is the number one type of insulation you should do.
And that would save you money immediately. Just on that, the thing that you showed us there that raises, that creates another platform, as it were. What did you say it was called again? Because there'll be people watching who'll want to go and find out.
So that's store floor from loft zone, but the general industry category is raised loft flooring.
Raised loft flooring.
Store floor from loft zone, yes.
Yeah. And raised floor, what was it? Raised
loft flooring.
Thank you. And the first thing you showed us on the radiator, you said that, yes, the thermostatic valve thing. That doesn't have to be plumbed in. That will just fit.
No, so literally you don't need to have a plumber. So
Brilliant.
Sometimes very old radiators are a little bit harder to do, but most radiators, you just take whatever's there, you take a cap off, you unscrew it, and you just put the new thermostatic radiator valve on. It's literally just a screw-in job.